Hey, welcome to Graphic Policy Television GPTV. Right in my hands is the Walking Dead Deluxe number 17. Fairly, I think, a pivotal issue of the series. I think this is a really, really important one because it really drives home a lot of what the series is about. It's written by Robert Kirkman, art by Charlie Adlard, colors by Dave McCaig, lettering by Rus Wooton. Alright, so Walking Dead Deluxe is not quite a reprinting, but it's a reintroduction of The Walking Dead. They're doing issue by issue, but it's now colorized. And then there's also a little bit of extras in the back of notes from Robert Kirkman about the issue itself. Like the script will be in there, or at least notes from the issue, and then he has some commentary as to what he thought about things. So issue number 17, I think this is a huge issue, and the reason I think it's a huge issue is that it really kind of sets the focus of the series. This isn't about scares, it's not about battling zombies and undead. It's about rebuilding society. It's about trying to start over after a huge calamity. And I know a lot of folks have issues with the series because they want people jacking up and fighting zombies, and that was just never really the point of the series. And I think this issue really establishes that. Like, I think it was the previous issue, you had one of the inmates of the prison that they're at winds up killing a couple of people. Actually, it was, 2 issues ago that happened. The previous issue, we find out who is the one that killed, and then this is the issue where that person is discovered by everyone else, and Rick nearly beats him to death. But it sets up as like, so you have this person who went on a killing spree. What do you do? Where do you go from there? And it's kind of, established of like, we need to create rules. We need to create laws. This isn't just a simple, we're going to go out and string people up or beat them to death. Like, we need to come up with something. And I think that's where it really kind of lays it down, that this is a series about a group of people attempting to establish something. There's a small debate in this issue that I think it's Lori that says something like, we can change things, we don't have to do it the same way, which really seems to tweak Rick. Rick goes off the handle in this issue, and we start seeing that interesting lead up, I think, of is Rick really a good leader? Is he going to help bring the change and do what's necessary to reestablish the world and maybe do it in a better way? Or is he just going to walk down the path of just a crazy dictator who commands everything? Those who've read the series, we all know where this all goes. But in this issue, I think it starts setting up really interesting things. And when we get to the governor later on, the juxtaposition between the two gets really, really interesting. The other thing for this series I think is really fascinating about revisiting is the fact that, when this came out, it was terrorism, it was a shaky economy. Like, these are the things that we worried about. Now we have COVID. We really do have a pandemic, an outbreak of a disease, just like there was kind of a disease in this series. And we have to figure out, are we going to create the same society, or are we going to be able to create something new? Are we just going to go back to the same society or create something new? And I think that's a really interesting thing. Like, we've shown a lot of the bullshit that we were raised to believe, and it seems that there's going to be a very fascinating conflict over the next few years of the people who realize how much bullshit this was, and that we can do things better, we can do things differently, we can do things more equitable. And then, those entrenched in power who want to do the same. And I think we get that debate in The Walking Dead, and it's going to be very interesting over the next few issues to see how that plays out. I really don't remember how it plays out. I vaguely remembered the storyline, but not the specifics. So I'm excited to see how all that works. And I think, again, what's really interesting to me is how well Robert Kirkman really is nailing down the themes and the debates that we are having in real life in his comic series. When the series first started, there was that denial that this is actually a real threat and that the government's going to come save us, and there's going to be all these things that happen that just like we got a lot of that with COVID, didn't happen. And now we've got that next phase of okay, this is our reality, where do we go from here? And I think that's this debate that we're starting to have in real life. And it'll be very interesting to see how they echo each other, if they echo each other at all. We know that society, they go on to create a different society, a little bit more equitable society. It takes a lot of work, but we know things evolve a little bit in The Walking Dead. You know, maybe it's not paradise, but it's also not quite the same of what was before. So it'll be interesting. I think watching that growth over these next few years, mirrored to the real world changes that are going to happen, I think it's just going to be a very interesting read. It shows that horror and horror stories can really reflect well on the world. They do a fantastic job of doing that, and they have throughout the years. So the art, it continues, I think, to be really solid. Charlie Adlard, I think, really starts growing from the previous issue into this issue, and it starts going somewhere a lot. The thing that I've had, and I talked about in some other issues, was I wasn't 100% sure how the art or the coloring would play out. Like, does it make it a little bit comical? And for the most part, it's pretty solid. Like, the blood is not as over-the-top goofy as I thought it would be. I think there's also some interesting things with the... I think the only thing that I would say is that, like, what stands out is, like, the kids still seem a little bit off, but it's not necessarily a bad thing at all. They look a little bit cartoonish, I think, compared to everyone else. But, it's just kind of a style thing. And to me, it's not that big a deal. But overall, it's, to me, a really, really, really solid series. Like, I love seeing the updated stuff from Kirkman. I love rereading this in today's society and situation to see how it reflects upon that, how, like, my reading of it might have changed over the years. So this is great. I mean, if you've never read The Walking Dead, now is a perfect opportunity to go issue by issue. It comes out every other week for the most part. And you can go and read it almost like it was originally intended. Obviously, color, coming out a little bit quicker, some extra stuff. If you've been a long-time Walking Dead fan, you get the colorized version, which, is a little bit different, and then you also get Kirkman's notes, which I think are really, really cool. So, overall, I still recommend the series, like, as someone who read it from from early on, not quite the beginning, but really early, through the final issue. I've been excited, and it's been a lot of fun going back issue by issue to read the series. So go check it out. You can go get it now in comic shops. We got a link beneath this video. Put in your zip code. Tell the shops near you. No shop, no problem. We have some affiliate links. There are affiliate links, so we get a small percentage by doing that. You help support our site, so thank you. And just watching this video support us, so I appreciate that. If you're into comics, if you're into Image, if you're into Skybound, check us out every single day at graphicpolicy.com. We're on Twitter, Facebook, YouTube, Tumblr, all at Graphic Policy, keeping it nice and consistent. So until next time, keep reading those comics, and keep it geeky. Hey, thanks for watching the previous video from Graphic Policy Television. Just by watching, you help support our site. Thank you so much. Now, if you're watching these videos, you probably care about geeky things like movies, television, comic books, toys, games, video games, you name it. You can go and subscribe right now to our YouTube channel to stay in touch and catch all the new videos, or check out our website at graphicpolicy.com. There's a nice link on this end of the video. But as always, thank you for watching. Keep on rocking and keep it geeky.